Your environment is either setting you up for success or it's pulling you back into the crave cycle. We need to make sure it's working for you and not against you. Because the reality is that you are going to face the three biggest triggers and you're going to need to know how to handle them. You are going to face food triggers, you're going to face environmental triggers, and you're going to have to deal with emotional triggers from yourself and from others. And if you know how to handle those three things, you are well on your way to a craving-free life. So let's start by diving into food triggers. They say you are what you eat, and I say you eat what's around. So the most important thing we need to do is secure your physical environment. Now, you might be like me and you might have other people in your house that aren't going to be doing the exact same thing as you. They're not going to be eating like you. So you need to create safe spaces. Maybe you need to use the produce drawer in your refrigerator to put the foods that you're going to be eating. Those are just your foods. Or maybe you're going to use those areas for the contraband, the things you aren't going to eat, but you need to create an environment. I remember the first time I did this, the mixed feelings of taking those things out of the cupboard and throwing them in that industrial big black plastic bag. Those were the foods that I wasn't going to eat anymore. Those were the foods that were causing my cravings. Those were the foods that were causing all of my pain. I remember the sadness of them going in, but the joy of knowing that I was removing the foods that were literally creating all of my cravings in my life. So if you're feeling reluctant to do this, just do it. Get a friend on the phone. Have them talk you through it and encourage you. You're doing this for you. You're making a stand against an environment that is literally built to destroy your health. Remember, you get to decide. You get to choose what goes into your system. You get to decide what kind of fuel you're going to put in your body. So make a stand in your physical environment. It's so important. Talked about the pantry, talked about the fridge, but the physical living space is going to extend beyond those two areas, right? And it's going to extend beyond the kitchen. So you need to have reminders and visual cues set up for you so you can be successful. I'm talking about sticky notes, signs on doors or cupboards, phone reminders reminding you what your path is. And I want those reminders set at specific times of the day, right when you're walking in, when you get home from work, those transition points where you know you're going to be entering into an environment that's more challenging for you to handle. Maybe the work break room, you have a break at the same time every day. You can build that into your schedule so you can be more prepared. Those visual cues, those reminders, those sticky notes, a string around your finger if you're old fashioned, whatever it is, you need to remind you because you have a brain that's going to want to forget that you're doing this. It's going to want to forget that you don't eat these things anymore. It's going to want to forget the pain that you experienced as a result of the consequences you experienced from your triggers. So make sure that it extends beyond your kitchen. It should extend into your work desk. It should extend into your car. Be sure that you aren't just focusing on securing your kitchen environment because your environment extends much farther than your kitchen door. Finally, let's talk about the feelings behind your cravings. What's it going to be like for you when you don't have to eat over the things that you're feeling? And instead, you follow a plan that you intend to follow because you know it works for you and that it serves you and it doesn't defeat you. You are going to feel all kinds of emotions in this life. You are going to face all kinds of challenges. But you don't need to eat those feelings. Feelings aren't edible. There might be positive triggers, there might be negative triggers. And what I mean by that is you might be triggered by joy, by excitement, but you might be triggered by anger, resentment, fear, anxiety, overwhelm, irritability, annoyance. Those are the feelings that might drive you to eat. So you need to pay attention. And in order to do that, I want to ask you two simple questions. First one is, what are the feelings that you've eaten over in the past? That's the first question. And the second question is, what are the feelings that others have experienced that so bothered me that caused me to eat? Because when you know what feelings to watch out for, you can have a plan for each one. A plan for when you're angry. A plan for when you're irritated and annoyed. A plan for when you're filled with joy. So that doesn't equate to eating the triggers and the foods that cause your cravings in the first place. So we've talked about the food triggers, we've talked about your environment, and we've talked about your emotional triggers. Remember, this is a process. This is not a single event. You don't just wake up one day, throw out all the junk, and all of a sudden your cravings are gone. You have to stay vigilant. You have to pay attention to your feelings, to your environment. You have to be willing to keep it up. It is these continuous actions that will feed you along into a path where cravings can no longer exist long term. Sure, you might see a birthday cake and want it for a second, but then another thought comes in, one that reminds you of all the growth you've had, all the changes you've made, all the successes, all the wins, and all of a sudden that cake, it don't look so sweet no more. So remember, stick with this consistently, and you will change. I believe in you.